Fades to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to an impromptu Patriots Touchback podcast on this Thursday evening. I'm Kieran. I'm joined by DJ for this evening. I've been drafted into the host's chair just for tonight as we react to the Patriots 2025 schedule, which was released in the wee hours of the morning last night. Thank you for joining, everyone. Remember to like and subscribe on all of our social media platforms across X, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, and of course, a big thank you to our partners at the Asleep at Work Network. DJ, how's it going, man?
Yeah, all good, mate. Thank you for the intro. Another step closer to the 2025 season. Obviously, as you mentioned last night or early hours of this morning, the full schedule had been released. Obviously, we had a bit of like rumors and drips and drabs were being released throughout the whole day, but it is now official. So yeah, we're ready to crack on and chat some schedule.
Sweet. How do you feel in general about the way that the schedule release is kind of handled? Because it seems to get more and more hyped every year. The teams are kind of releasing these funky videos. Like there was 2 that came out on the Patriots social media channels last night. And as you said, there's leaks coming out. So you know who you're playing anyway, because the opponents come out way in advance. So I don't really get why there's such a clamor for it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the teams must already know because they need to fully prepare for that video that they release. So it's getting very very hyped up, and there's already been some controversy in regards to, I think it was the Colts had to take away their video. I think there was something about Tyreek Hill that I read that had to get taken down for legal reasons. So, but yeah, I just find it I don't know. Just a bit of
I know there's like a similar thing in the Premier League, and the EFL, but like it's a lot more downplayed than what the NFL is. Normally, like in English football, English soccer, it's every club will just post a graphic of all of their fixtures at the agreed time when the embargo is lifted. So, I don't know why it's such a thing, but it is what it is. Like they clearly want to make a thing out of it. And now we know who the Patriots are facing on a week-to-week basis. So what we're going to do in this podcast is we're going to go through the games in the schedule one by one, have a little bit of a discussion about them, predict a winner or a loss, and then organically we'll come up with a predicted record. Of course, anyone that's listening and watching along live this evening, feel free to get involved with the show. Drop us your thoughts on the schedule, and of course your predicted records as well. That'd be great. So DJ, we'll start first, and have to say that if you're a Patriots fan, to have the Raiders up first at home seems like one of the best possible outcomes for a season opener.
Yeah, I think it's that feeling of, where Josh McDaniels came from the Raiders or left the Raiders, and then obviously now he's coaching back at the Patriots. So I think it's one of those games where on paper, I think we could looking at our first win for the first game. I think the Raiders are in total rebuild mode as well. New head coach, new drafted running back, quarterback as well, and kind of like a new whole management style things as well. So I think it'll be a close one, but I like it. I like the Raiders.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of facets to it. Obviously, it's the Josh McDaniels revenge game. It's Jacoby Myers coming back to New England. It's Pete Carroll coming back to New England. There's Tom Brady and the ownership. Like there's a lot of different things to this game. But purely kind of based on in pure footballing, in a pure footballing perspective. Like both teams will look at this as well. We both sucked last year, and this will be a winnable game for either team. But I feel like with what we've done this off season, we would go into this game as favourites. I believe that we are favourites in quite a lot of games this year, which is mad considering we won any last year. But I think this is one where most Patriots fans will be expecting us to get off to a winning start. I mean, you look at the Raiders, they have some good players on their team. Obviously, we know that Brock Bowers is a stud. We know that Ashton Genty as a rookie is a stud. They've got Max Crosby. They've got Christian Wilkins. But they've really got a lot else on that roster. I think that they haven't really addressed a lot of holes. And I know Pete Carroll gets his teams playing tough and they all have an identity. But I just feel like we are the much better team in this instance with what we've got now. I feel like this could be a game where we could, if things go as we hope they will, we could make a real sort of statement in the first game of the season. And Dougie Bell's just messaged in as well saying win for the first game. Yeah, I agree. I think most people will think this is a win.
Yeah, I think it depends on how Geno Smith is as well in that Raiders offense. It's everything's new to him. Playbook, home field, etc. So, and they might struggle as well. But like you just said there, they've obviously drafted Genty in for the running back position. But you got Crosby on the other side of it. You got Mayers. But other than that, there's not really much to them. And I think, like you said there, and I think we've got more weapons and more. I think we've done a lot more this offseason in placing, the pieces to the puzzle. And I think we might actually make a massive statement here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we play really, really well and everything looks the way it is. We might actually really blow the Raiders out, but we'll see.
I think it's possible. Yeah, I think depending on where Max Crosby lines up, it might be a tough. Welcome to the NFL for Will Campbell, and we'll see how he hangs up. But I look at the Raiders secondary, and they lost their two best defensive backs in the offseason. Trayvon Merrick went to the Carolina Panthers, and then Nate Hobbs went to the Green Bay Packers. So, I just think that secondary, you can expose it massively. And I think it'd be one of them where, provided the protection holds up and the receivers can get open, I feel like Drake May could really put on a big performance in this first game. There'll be a real good feel-good factor in Gillette for the first time in God knows how long. It'll be a game we'll be expected to win.
It's going to feel different. It's going to be
buzzing, new era, good vibes around the place. And I feel like this is a perfect game. So, I think we're taking a win here in week one, getting off to a good start. Week two at Miami. It's not been a happy hunting ground down in South Florida.
Nope.
Which is understandable for a Northeast team going right down to South Florida. But it's one of them games where I think it's a bit of a 50-50. I feel like the Dolphins could be very hit or miss this year because we know they've got a lot of speed on offense, a lot of firepower, but they've also got a lot of holes on their roster. And I do think they're going to regress. It'll just be how well we can hold up in South Florida that early in the season when it is still really hot in September. This is a tough one. We could lose this. Even if Miami aren't amazing, I still think we could lose it. Equally, wouldn't be shocked if we go down there and win. But I think we're 2-8 against Miami in the last 10 games down at Hard Rock. So it'll be a tough one.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think the defensive side of things of Miami, I think they've hit a big blow. With Holland leaving. Ramsey, he hasn't got traded yet, but he's basically out the door more or less. So I think defensively they are going to struggle. That's where we could probably empower them in that position. But like you said, it's the heat and it's the environment that we're going into that makes it a bit difficult. But this is a different team. So these players might be able to adapt, whilst the others in the past, Belichick era, Brady, didn't like that kind of scenario, didn't like the atmosphere or the humidity, blah, blah, blah. But we got a different set of players right now. So, like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if we go and take a win here if Miami are that bad and at home.
Yeah.
So, it could be one of those surprising ones where we could start going in 2-0 in the first two games.
Oh, 100%. And that would be amazing if we did. I'm just going to err on the side of caution with it. I mean, you're right about Miami's defense. I don't think it's anything to be frightened of. The secondary needs a lot of work. And if you look at what they've done into their pass rush can't stay healthy. And I know they added Kenneth Grant in the draft, who I think was a nice pickup for them for what they needed. But Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips have always just constantly injured. And I know they've got Chop Robinson going into the second year, but that and it'll be early in the season, obviously. So you hope that there wouldn't be any injuries. But I just don't think they're anything to be scared about. But obviously, the thing that they are good at is that they're capable of putting points on teams because of the speed and their dynamism of their offense. I wonder
Tua is another factor as well. He had a decent season last year, but can he continue on that projectile, on that line? So
it's one of them, isn't it? It could be a bit of a shootout. This, if their offense is firing, but so is ours because their defense can't hold up, then you can end up in a little bit of an early shootout in this one. But I mean, look, we can't, after winning 4 games the last 2 years, we can't sit here and go, Patriots going to win every game. So I'm going to put this down as a narrow loss for now, I think.
Yeah, I'll put that down as a loss as well,
Yeah. But then, after the Miami game, we get Pittsburgh at home, who have never finished under 500 under Mike Tomlin. But if any season it's going to happen, it's going to be this one. Because who the hell is playing QB for the Steelers this season?
That's still not to be decided.
At the moment, it's either Mason Rudolph, who I think is an adequate backup, or you've got 5th round pick Will Howard, who I wasn't massively high on in the draft. And then there's a talk about Aaron Rodgers, who I think is completely washed, and I wouldn't want him anywhere near my franchise now anyway, with what he brings. So
yeah, I still
genuinely think this is another winnable game.
I don't know. I think the Steelers scare me this year.
Really?
They got an immense. Yeah, I think that their defense is really, really good, and I think they've picked up some good players in free agency. So I think they got Metcalf, didn't they? Pickens obviously got traded, but it's like you say. I mean, they got, who did they draft? Derek Harmon, Jack Sawyer.
Yeah, went D-line, Jack Sawyer in round 4.
Running back. I just don't know who their QB is going to be. I still think they're going to make a move for someone. Either that on trade, or do they want to go Rodgers, though? I mean, he's probably the only option they have right now.
That's what I mean. There literally isn't one. But it's not just that as well. Like, you look at the kind of the way their offense is made up. Now, Pickens has been traded. It's DK Metcalf and nothing else whatsoever. They've got Calvin Austin, who's like an okay 3-4 speed receiver. Roman Wilson, who was a 3rd-round rookie from last year, who didn't play his whole rookie year. And then just a whole load of trash. So, and then the running back situation is Jalen Warren, who's a good scat back, but not good enough to be a lead back. And then Caleb Johnson, who was drafted in the 3rd round out of Iowa, who's okay, but he's never played down in the NFL yet, so you don't know what he's going to be like. So that offense could be disgusting. But I know their defense is really talented and will keep them competitive. But they're going to need to score points, and that's why I just think this is a winnable game. And plus, no matter how bad we be, we always seem to beat Pittsburgh. We just seem to have their number every time.
Yeah, we always have it. Yeah.
I've got this as a win. Regardless of who's QB, I think we're beating them in week 3.
Right, okay, so let's put that one down as a win. Plus, we're at home as well, so...
Yeah, Dougie says, when the Steelers have no offense, I don't think Rodgers is going there. I mean, to be honest, if you're Aaron Rodgers, why would you go there? They're not going to be a Super Bowl contender with him there anyway, because we talked about the other holes on the team. Yeah, maybe for some money, but I don't think he is in a situation there where he's going to elevate them to a Super Bowl contender. I can see Aaron Rodgers doing a typical Aaron Rodgers thing in the sense that he might wait for a big-time injury to occur, Imagine just throwing this hypothetical out there. It gets to like week 14 in the season, and Patrick Mahomes goes down with an injury. Can you see the Chiefs signing him to help him get over the line in the Super Bowl? Absolutely. Probably. That's the kind of thing I can see Rodgers doing, but I don't see what he gains from going to Pittsburgh. So that's that. Then we get the Carolina Panthers the following week at home again. So 3 out of the first 4 games at home. They're going to be improved, but I don't think they've improved enough. Worried about just yet. But I do think this could be quite a funky game. Like, I feel like us and Carolina are 2 sort of like uprising teams, and this could have the potential to be quite entertaining.
Yeah, I think like you said there, I mean, they weren't great last year. They were pretty poor. They have made some decent additions in the draft, and don't get me wrong, I think, with Tech and Nick, they've got a running back as well, but I still don't think it's enough. And I think we should be able to comfortably beat these guys at home. My worry is going into this game, we're thinking already, it's a win, and they'll shock us. Don't want to get too comfy and thinking, it's just the Panthers. Oh, we've got this one in the bag. And then they turn up and it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, I completely see what you're saying. And, we've got to respect this offense, because at the end of last season, Bryce Young started to get hot. Chuba Hubbard had a fantastic season. They've now got, obviously we know they've got Ted McMillan, but they've also now, you add him to Thielen, you add him to Jalen Coker, to Leggett from last year. They've got weapons on this offense. This team can score points. And I know they've done a lot of stuff with their defensive line in particular. Like they drafted 2 pass rushers. They brought in a couple of defensive tackles in free agency. They've really tried to, to boost that defensive line. I still think their secondary is a little bit weak, and their linebacker group is a little bit weak. So that's probably where we can attack. I would probably have us winning this game, but I think it could be quite funky.
Yeah, I've got us as a win as well.
So just to, revisit for the first 4 games, just
4 games. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Through 4 games, we're predicting we're sat at 3-1. I mean, that would, considering we've won 4 games the last 2 years, I think most people would be absolutely delighted with us being at 3-1 after 4 games.
Yeah, and that we could be at 4, because that Miami game could be a coin toss. So imagine we'd be at 4-0 at week 4.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, just doesn't bear thinking about, does it? Like, get dizzy heights.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going then to Buffalo in week 5. I mean, this is probably going to be a bit of a stretch too far.
Plus away. So,
yeah, on the road against Buffalo. It's a tough game. Nice that we don't have to play them in terms of like right at the end of the year, like we did last year. It's playing twice in 3 weeks in the middle of the winter. So the weather should be okay in October in Buffalo. But it's still, I think it is going to be a bit of a tough one. I think I'd have us down for a loss on this one.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a bit too much to overcome. But I accept that we're going to take the loss. But what I want the team to do is go out there and compete, and for the Bills to kind of like look at us and raise some eyebrows and thinking, what, these guys have massively improved from last year. Like they're not a team to like they're going to sit down and just fucking like they did to us, like let us win, blah blah. Hopefully, if it is a loss, it might come down to a field goal, or it might come down to some one play that's gonna just make that game what it is. But I want to be able for the guys to go in and compete, and then obviously they will be very proud of what the team has done. But that's all I want from this game. If we're going to make a loss, we're going to make a loss. But I want the guys to be able to.
It's almost like worrying them a little bit, isn't it? Like, making sure that it's trying to say like we're here and we're coming for you. Like
exactly.
In the future.
Yeah, I want the Bills to be worried and saying, "Well, the Pats are back, and we need to be fucking careful of what we're doing in the season." So.
And we sort of did that to a certain extent when we played there last year, because we scored the 2 early touchdowns. You kind of think, bloody hell, like we were 2 scores up in Buffalo. Like, and Drake May played awesome in that game, like, and that was a real, a shock for them.
Doug is just said they lost, but with a tight game. That's
yeah,
what I want. I want it to be.
I think that would be absolutely fine. You know, like you said, if it's a field goal or just a touchdown, we're competitive in the game and we give them a good battle. I think that's more than all right.
It's all like mind games. I want them to like be looking behind their shoulders week after week to say, well, how the Patriots done this week, or how many games are we ahead? Blah blah blah. I want that. If we're not going to win the DFL, which I don't think we're not going to win the division, but I want to make a statement and be able to.
Absolutely. So now we're sat at 4-2 by our
Bills loss. Yeah.
3-2 by this. We then go to the Saints, who I have been very, very low on this season. I think the Saints could legitimately be the worst team in the NFL this year. They did a lot more than what I thought, but like they were bad last year with an aging roster with Carr at QB. They now have 2 late round draft picks at QB and Tyler Shuck, who's going to be a 26-year-old rookie who should, with a plagued injury history, who should never ever have been drafted in the second round. Like I was banging the drum for saying he should be like a 6th, 7th round pick based on that. But lo and behold, the Saints went and pulled the trigger on Tyler Shuck. I'd imagine he'll start this game. But I think the Saints are going to be bad, flat out bad. So I think we're going to win this game because I just think they're going to stink.
Yeah, I wonder if they're now regretting not taking Sanders because of the Carr situation. They could have got him at round 2 instead of getting Tyler. But yeah, I can't see this team unless Rodgers signs for them and gives them a little bit of a spark. Maybe that's who I think Rodgers might sign for if the deal's right, and I can see it happening.
Go back to what I said earlier in the podcast. Like, why would you go there?
In the dome,
he doesn't do anything for them. He doesn't elevate them. They go from being a 4-win team to a 6-win team, maybe, or they might even still only win 3 or 4 games with Aaron Rodgers. Like, I think
they started pretty well last season, if I'm not mistaken. Did they go 3-0?
A hot start, yeah. But then it just fell apart. They've got, like I said, they've got an aging roster. You know, they obviously the problems last year
with issues as well.
Yeah, Chris Olave, you know, just kept getting concussed with these nasty hits. Shaheed got injured. Alvin Kamara was getting old. They've still got a lot of older players in their roster like Cam Jordan, Demario Davis. I just think that team is going to really struggle. They had a real bad problem with their offensive line last year, and I know they addressed that in the draft with Kelvin Banks, and they took Talisi Fuaga last year. So they should have 2 young, good tackles, but the interior of that line struggled last year, even though they've got some good players there. There's nothing on this Saints team to fear, and I just think this is a win.
Yeah. Like you say, they're an aging squad and cap issues, and I think they're just in trying to get a rebuild mode, but it's not going very well for them. So, yeah,
and I can see as well, DJ. You got to remember, like, what is the supposed prize, big prize for next year's draft? Everyone at this stage, I know a lot can change in the next few months, but everyone's going to want Arch Manning, and especially with his connection to the Louisiana area.
Yeah. Do you think is he going to declare though this year? Is he 100% sure that he's going to? Or is he?
I would assume probably. I mean, it depends on how well he does at Texas, but the Saints will be eyeing that up.
Okay, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
And eyeing up Arch Manning, and they could legitimately do the worst team in the league this year. So, yeah. Moving on,
get number 1 overall.
Yeah,
so we've got to win.
Yeah, we're going to win. So we're at 4-2. Mm-hmm. So this is spicy. And I know it's not ideal playing 3 road games in a row, but at Tennessee, Mike Vrabel's return to Nashville against the team who picked number 1 in the draft. Yeah. I feel like this could be spicy. But yet again, we nearly beat them last year, barring a catastrophic mistake in overtime. We should have finished that off. We should have gone for 2 when Drake May had the miraculous touchdown. Have they improved that much by just adding Cam Ward? No. I don't think a lot of their other additions have been
Tyler Lockett.
like Tyler Lockett. They've brought in who they bring in. They brought in Amana, the receiver. They brought in Restrepo was a free agent.
Free agency, yeah.
Still got Calvin Ridley. They've got some speed at running back, but I still don't think this team's very good at all. And it might take longer. I don't have much faith in that coaching staff either. I don't think Brian Callahan's a very good coach.
No.
So I think Vrabel's going to go back there and want to make a statement of, you should never have fired me, because he was 100%. On the job.
Yeah.
So Patriots are going to take this game in Nashville.
Yeah, I've got the revenge tour for Vrabel here. I think he's going to want the team to win no matter what. So I think they're going to go all out. And like you say, I don't think, even though they got Cam Ward as a rookie, he's still unthingied in the NFL. I don't think they've drastically changed their roster to make anything improve. Like Lockett, at the end of the day, he's decent, but he's aging, he's regressing.
Yeah,
he is a solid, probably key number one receiver. But that's really all that they've kind of got at the moment.
Yeah, they've not got much. So yeah, I think this is
Titans win here. Yeah.
Okay, we're at 5-2. I certainly think we'd be very happy with that. Cleveland Browns at home on October the 26th. Another one where you could look at and go, fancy us here. I know they're pretty good defensively, but once again, that offense isn't amazing. I don't think it will be like a Saints, Steelers, Raiders level in terms of I don't think we'll blow them out. That's for certain, because I think that defense is pretty damn good. But I mean, I look at we don't know who the QB is going to be. They've got a carousel there that is just mad. They've got
many, yeah.
A geriatric Flacco, a bust in Kenny Pickett, an injured Deshaun Watson, Dylan Gabriel, who looks like he's having a stinker in a rookie minicamp, and then obviously the whole situation with Shador. I genuinely don't know what they're going to do.
I think Shador, sure, he's going to take it. I think he'll. From what I've been seeing clips and stuff like that, I think he's in line to probably take that. Well, it's up for grabs, like you say. You don't know. I mean, do they go with Flacco, who's got the experience, and he did he take him to the playoffs? He did, didn't they?
Yeah,
2 years
he
ago.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually got us as a loss here. I
really
think this Browns team might raise a few eyebrows. Like defensively, I think they're very, very good.
Defensively, very good.
It's the attacking side of things that, like you say, you don't know who QB is. The wide receivers aren't wow either. I mean, there's hardly anyone there. But
I think
I don't know. This is another Miami one or Steelers.
It's going to be a big tough test for the offensive line going up against Garrett. Mason Graham. And they've got some good players at linebacker and in the secondary. That defense will keep it competitive. Just look at the offense outside of the QB situation. We know Njoku's a good player. We know Judy's a good player. Stillman had flashes last year. They got a new running back rotation with Judkins and Sam
Jr. Yeah,
they've added Fannin. They've got some pieces there. It's just I can't pick against us with that quarterback situation. If they had a nailed-on starter, I could see where you're saying this could be a dodgy one. But I don't think they'll come into New England and beat us with a rotation of QBs like that. I don't think any of those guys are worth being frightened about. I don't rate Kenny Pickett. Flacco's had a great career, but he's 40 years old now. And you just don't know if these rookies are any good. I didn't rate Dylan Gabriel in the draft at all. Could be Shador, but then playing a rookie on the road against a Mike Vrabel team could be thrown into the wall.
It could be hard.
So I'm going to have a win here.
Their running back situation isn't great either because they drafted two rookies. So Judkins and Sampson.
Rookies. Yeah,
I starters
really high on Sampson.
You're talking about having a rookie QB and a rookie running back.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from.
Not too sure what their left tackle situation is going to be either, because obviously Jedrick Wills left in free agency. He didn't play well last year anyway. DeJuan Jones is a right tackle. Jack Conklin's a right tackle. I don't know who's going to play left out of those two. But yeah, I'm gonna take a win in this one. I'm not picking against us with that QB situation.
Okay, so we put Browns as a win, yeah?
Yeah. Now this one I think is probably the most debatable game remaining on the schedule. The Atlanta Falcons at home on November the 2nd. Now, if the Falcons click, they can beat us. Like, they've got the talent to beat us. But it's also the Falcons. And whether Michael Penix is actually any good. This one I feel like a very, very 50-50 game.
They did a couple good draft picks there, but yeah.
Yeah, they've added obviously James Pierce and Jalen Walker. Gave up a ridiculous amount to trade up for James Pierce, though, which was silly. I liked they drafted Xavier Watts in the second round. Like, they did well in the draft.
They got Pitts, they got Robinson, Penix if he's clicking, London. I don't think we can beat this team, to be honest. Their defense is. Yeah, it's probably arguably we could.
I think the Falcons' win total is the same as ours on the Vegas line at the moment. I feel like we are very even. Yeah. I feel like we have two very even teams. You look at what we've got on both sides of the ball. I feel like we're quite similar to them. So it's very much
at home.
Yeah, we're at home. Yeah. Yeah, like if they click, then with all the weapons they've got, they could lay it on us. But yeah, this will be a tough game. Definitely think it'll be a tough game. But then the Falcons, they lost their 6 of their last 8 at the end of last year. So that's I don't know. I'm happy to. Do you know what? Seeing we've gone pretty positive so far. I'm happy to
say there's no way we're going to go like 8-2 already.
Yeah, I'm happy to stick this down as a loss because we've gone really positive so far. I do think I wouldn't be surprised if we win this game, but I'm happy to go with the loss for now because I think it is a real coin flip. So yeah, let's stick it down as a loss.
Yeah.
So we're at what 6-3?
6, yeah.
Okay, Tampa Bay on the road. That's going to be hard.
I can't see us doing that.
Yeah, I think they're still a very good team.
They drafted well as well.
Yeah, they've got a lot of weapons on offense. A stout line.
The Bucks for me is going to be a team to look for this year, as in where they're going. As in, they almost did it last year and was shy of it. So I think
they need to improve defensively if they're going to go on a run. But they've added some players. They've got all the offensive firepower in the world. So I think we'll lose this game in November in Florida, the heat as well. Yeah, I mean, I think we could make it competitive. This is another one of those Buffalo games. You kind of think like, as long as we show,
as long as we turn up, and it was so yeah.
Okay, so we sat here at 10 games into the season at 6-4. Is that right?
Yeah.
6-4. Mm-hmm. 6-4. I mean, I think everyone would take that, right? 6-4 after
10%. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not massively unrealistic to sit at 6-4 after 10 games with the schedule.
Dougie says we're losing with the Bucks as well. They're too strong.
Yeah, I think we'll lose to Tampa. Yeah, November the 13th. So it's a short week for us. A Thursday night game against the New York Jets at home. I know Carl likes to call it the biannual teabagging of the Jets. So I'd imagine that we'll probably win this one and we bounce back from our back-to-back losses.
Yeah, it's the Jets and they're coming to Gillette. So I think as much as I do like the draft picks that they've done, so they got Membu, they picked up Mason Taylor. Who did they get in the offseason? They got Justin Fields, I believe, did they call back?
Yeah, they did. And still, like, he's still such a strange player.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. Will he adapt into this new Jets? Because everything's new to them as well. Coach, quarterback, rookie. It's like a rookie team. Bruce Hall, is he able to find what stats that he knows that he can put up. That
Yeah,
he's just did a bit of
defensively they're pretty good, but they did fall off last year. I think for me, they lack a second receiver. They've got Garrett Wilson, and we know they've brought in Mason Taylor at tight end, but he'll need time to adjust. But they've got nothing really beyond beyond Garrett Wilson at wide receiver.
Someone needs to step up, yeah.
So I don't really feel, and with Justin Fields, he's not a great passer. He's a great runner, but he's so inconsistent as a passer. Like
That's I think we should do. We'd need to stop his ability to run out of the pocket.
Yeah.
If we can just keep him in the pocket and let him make the mistakes, as in he's got to throw the ball because he's not running outside, or we're not giving him a chance to throw him outside. So let him kind of let our defense take the game and make him make the mistakes, and we'll just obviously then capitalize on the interceptions.
Force him to throw because we're going to have Gonzo, Carlton Davis, a really strong secondary. Just force him to throw, and let's see what we can do with it. So we're going for a win here. That puts us at 7-4.
Yeah.
Then go on. We've got a 10-day break, like a mini gap, which is good. Before we play the Cincinnati Bengals on the road. Now I do think this might be a little bit different to last year. Because we know the Bengals don't start well, but we're playing them literally mid-season, or towards the end of the season even.
Yeah.
So I imagine this is going to be a loss. However, their defense is not great. Joe Burrow threw 43 touchdown passes last year. Their offense scored an insane amount of points, and they went 9-8.
But they let up too much.
And then they've lost players. They might not even have Hendrickson.
Henderson, yeah.
I don't know if you've seen this as well, but their first two draft picks, Shamar Stewart and Demetrius Knight, are both refusing to play, take part in the off-season training.
Oh, yeah.
Cincinnati are the only team in the NFL that don't have the same rookie waiver as the other teams. So there's no real protection for injuries for the players.
So they just don't want to play for the.
They're basically they're not signed. They're not participating until they've signed their rookie contracts, which I kind of
says we'll lose again, but it'll be a tight game.
It's kind of what the Cincinnati is so poorly run, aren't they? Like if you're the only team in the league that doesn't have that injury clause for rookies, what are you doing?
It depends what Cincinnati team turns up because we don't know what they're. I mean, in week 12, you'll know more or less what kind of a team they are for the year, but you just don't know at the beginning. I think we just caught them off guard at week 1 last year, and that was the way that it fell. But yeah, they just got too much on offense for us to be able to. But then again, on defense, like you say, they're not going to have much else on their side unless they make a deal with Hendrickson, which I wouldn't mind trying to grab myself. If I was the Patriots, I'd be like, "What do you want?
Yeah,
for the first round next year, pay it." But
yeah, I agree with Dougie. Losing again a tight game, we will score on them. I can see this being a bit of a shootout. They are. They've got all the firepower in the world, and you think by then they'll have it because they just don't start well. But this is so late on, so we'll put this down as a loss. So that puts us at 7-5. Is that right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Okay. We then play the New York Football Giants on Monday Night Football on December the 1st at home. And I'm very high on the Giants' defense for this year because I think they've got
that's my only worry is the defense.
However, I don't trust the offense at all. Love Malik Neighbors, love Cam Scatterboo. But they've got kind of some okay pieces. Obviously, got a very good left tackle with Andrew Thomas, but I didn't rate. I must have been one of the very few people that didn't rate Jackson Dart in this draft. I did not think I didn't give him a first round grade. He was my 4th quarterback on my rankings. I just think he was a product of a very collegiate system at Ole Miss. I don't think he's great. So I think we beat the Giants in this game on Monday Night Football. But I think their defense will keep it quite close because that pass rush could give our line a lot of problems.
Yeah, I don't think they've done enough offensively. I don't know who their QB is. I don't know what plans they've got. They've got 4 4 QBs there. Anyone could start. It could be Winston, which I don't think it'll be. I think they'll go Wilson just for experience.
I'd imagine
And
everything I'm seeing around the Giants at the moment is I think Dart's gonna be in by then. I wonder whether it'll be Russ to start with, but we're playing these in what week?
Week 13.
13. I think that's Jackson Dart will be in by then, maybe, but
possibly.
Who knows? But I do think
win.
This is a game we should be winning. They won less games than us last year. Yeah, we're at home. This is a win. So we're heading into the bye in week 14. Less than ideal that we've got another late bye again. I thought we had a bye at late like week 14 last year. But we're sat at the bye, DJ, at 8-5, which would keep us well and truly in the hunt for a playoff spot. Which is, it's mad to say, but you look at the schedule and it's not unrealistic at all. I think if we sat at the bye at 8-5, we're buzzing.
Oh yeah, definitely. From 4 wins that we got last year to 8-5 at the bye at 14. I mean, yeah, more for that.
So we come out of the bye, and we play the Bills at home. I think we can. Once again, it's one of those, like we said, with the away game, keep it competitive. With us being at home this time, who knows? We could overturn them if we're feeling confident that 8-5 coming fresh off a bye, we could take the game to them. We could beat them.
I think we always lose though after a bye. I think there's a stat saying that Patriots are the worst team to come off a bye and always tend to take a loss. I don't know why, but that's just
But just to kind of keep it fair with the predictions, we'll probably put this down as a loss. We don't want to run before we can walk, I think is probably the most important thing with this season. So we'll take a loss at Buffalo, against Buffalo. I then think we probably lose the next game on the road at Ravens. Now, Ravens tend to get hot later in the season. They're kind of a late bloomer as well. But that will be contingent on how well we contain Lamar Jackson. I mean, anyone that's listened to this podcast knows how much I can't stand him. Like, we need to do what you said with Justin Fields: keep Lamar in the pocket and force him to throw, because not an amazing passer. We're going to have lockdown corners on the outside. Their receivers, apart from Zay Flowers, not great. We need to make this game like Lamar has to be a QB rather than a running back. And then that's how we try and win it. Defensively, they're very, very strong. It'll be a real test for Drake May going into that game. But yeah, I think a loss in this one. I think it's just being realistic. So coming out of the bye with 2 losses, so that puts us at 8-7. Is that right?
Yeah.
We then go on the road to the Jets, which the Jets. They'll be dead and buried by this point in the season because it's the Jets. And we are still be in with a chance of the playoffs. So I think we will go to MetLife and we will deal with this one. I think we'll win. I just don't think they'll be competitive at that time of the year at the end of December. I think we'll take that one. Double over the Jets. So that would then put our division, before we talk about the Miami game final, that would put our division record at
9-8.
That'd be 2-3 in our division, in terms of in the division. So that goes into the final game of the season at home to Miami, and I'm so happy with this one. I was talking to my mate Chris the other day, who's a Dolphins fan, and I said to him, "You always, in the last few years, you always seem to get to play us in New England when the weather's still okay." I said, "When was the last time you come to us and had to play in the freezing cold?"
Oh, it's going to be freezing.
And now we play them in early January in Foxborough, which the Dolphins are going to hate. Tua's record in the cold is horrendous. Just like we struggle to play in the heat in Miami, they will hate playing in Foxborough in January. I also think they will also be dead and buried by then. So we will beat the Dolphins in the game of the season.
I'm not so sure they'll be dead and buried. I think this game, now this is a bold prediction, so they flexed this game. I don't know for what reason. I haven't got a date or the time or date, whatever. I don't know if it's because it's in the new year.
I think it's because it normally the final week of the season is normally determined on how well the teams have done, isn't it? So like if we are got a chance of a playoff, then we might be like in a certain window. If it's a game like we're shooting out for second place in a wild card spot, it might be the primetime game. You never know.
This is where I wanted to get to. What happens if it turns out that this could be the decisive game if we get that wild card? Because at the moment we're 9-8, yeah.
Yeah.
What happens if Miami, for some reason, are very similar?
It would be 9-7 going into that game.
Yeah, 9-7. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens if Miami are in a very similar situation that they need to win to be able to get into the wild card spot, and we're in the same scenario? So it could. I don't see Miami winning 9 games. Well, I don't know. Depends on what kind of team Miami turns up. But yeah, this could be the game that will make or break our season in terms of if we're going to get a wild card spot or not.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. This could be a very crucial game, but I'm so glad that we're not having to go to South Florida in the middle of the heat again, and they're having to come to us in an environment that will suit us for once. It's been a long time since the Dolphins have played us in New England late in the season. So yeah, I'm going to have this down as a win. That gives us an overall record of 10-7, which should be enough for a wild card spot. It's not a guarantee because the Broncos finished 10-7 last year and didn't get in, but it certainly puts us in the mix for a wild card spot.
But it all determines on, like you say, it could easily be 11-6 because if you've got that Miami week 2 or a Falcons one that we're still not determined on. Yeah, or even one of those Bills games, Bengal. You just don't know. Like it could turn into 11-6, which then you should be technically sneak into the wild card.
Yeah, equally could go the other way. If we don't perform up to it, we could be 9-8. It could. We could be 8-9. But I think when we were coming through this off season, people were on err on the side of caution, and you don't want to get too carried away. But when you see the schedule, when you see what this coaching staff have built in terms of what Vrabel's put together and the experience and the know-how of the coaching staff, with the roster overhaul, nearly 30 new players, with the feel-good factor, I just think all of that culminates into, you pair that with the schedule. Why can't we win 10 games? I don't think it's unrealistic at all. We've just gone through it now. I don't think 10-7 is getting carried away at all.
I don't think we're finished either. I think there's still going to be some. We've got some. I think we've still got about 40 odd cap room. So, and I think don't get me wrong. I think I saw this strength of the schedule this season. I think we're in the top 3. I think 49ers, someone else, and then us. So we have got the weakest schedule in terms of what they think that teams should be able to achieve. But I think it's like you say, I think we're going to be, I expect us to win more games than what people will put us down for this season. I think last year, like I say, 4 wins. I've been hearing remarks and comments saying that we'll probably only get maybe 1 or 2 more wins. But I think this New England team is going to win more games than what people are expecting.
I agree. I think the Vegas win line was at 7.5. It might have changed to 8.5 now. If you're a betting person, I'd get on that 100%. I just don't see us not winning 8 games. I think we are vastly improved both from a coaching and roster perspective.
Yeah,
we've got our QB. They've put pieces around him. The defense has been completely revamped.
It's gone up now to 8.5 games.
8.5. Yeah. I think that's good. I would jump on that. 100% jump on that. So yeah, I genuinely think we'll be in the mix. There's a lot of people tipping that. I've seen Kay Adams. I've seen Trevor Sycamore from PFF.
A lot of people saying that we'll go playoffs easy.
Yeah, a lot of people predicting us to be the commanders of this year, to rise up, from irrelevancy all the way up into contending again. And no, we're not going to win the Super Bowl. No, we're not going to go on a deep playoff run. But I certainly think we can challenge for a wild card spot, and everyone will be happy with that.
And then we would be able to get talent again, because at the moment there's players thinking, well, no, I'm not going to go, but I'm going to go to New England. We don't know what's going to be like, blah, blah, blah. But if we can prove this season, right, under one season under Vrabel and what he's done, the GM staff and what they've drafted, players and them are going to want to come.
Absolutely, and we've still got so much firepower at the cap space, as you said. If we go 10-7 this year and get into the playoffs next year, why can't we reinforce and maybe win 12 games and then go deep in a playoff run, maybe win the division, and then suddenly we're back to where we were before. So, watch out for the Patriots this year. I do think we're going to be much, much better,
improved. Yeah,
I as much as you don't want to get carried. Oh, excuse me. As we don't get carried away. Bear with me 1 second.
Yeah, you don't want to, like you say, you don't.
Away, but I think it's not unrealistic to look at that schedule with everything we've done. Let's say the Patriots will win 10 games. 10 out of 17 is still not an insane amount. Like, that's a middle of the road. So like I said, it should be enough to get you in the wild card spot, but it also might not guarantee it. But 10-7. I think is where we're going to be, around about that ballpark. Like you said, DJ, 11-6, I think is possible too if it all goes really well. I believe Taylor Kiles from CLNS Media, one of the beat reporters of the Patriots, had us at 13-4, which I think would be. I mean, I think that's pretty bold.
Guaranteed. Yeah.
I think that is pretty bold to say 13-4, but. If things collect, why not? But I think 10-7 is probably more realistic.
13-4. Who is he predicting we're going to beat then? It could be Miami week 2. It could be a Falcons.
Let me look him
and
up.
A Bengals. It could be those 3 that we've not accounted for, that we think we've got losses.
I just want to see if he retweeted the post. Here we go. So
he'll probably lost the Ravens, loss against Bills, a loss against Bills. So it might be. Yeah.
He has us losing to Buffalo, losing to Tampa, losing to Cincinnati, and losing to Baltimore, and winning every other game. So basically, the difference is he has us beating the Dolphins in week 2, has us beating the Falcons,
and one of the Bills,
and beating the Bills at home in week 15.
Wow.
Whereas his co-host on his podcast, Mike Cadlick, has us at 10-7. So he's on a similar wavelength to us.
Yeah.
There we go. So, let us know, guys. Dougie, he's also got 10-7. If anyone else is listening, watching along, let us know what your predicted records are for the Patriots this season. We'll just touch on a couple of bits of news before we get out of here, DJ. So, first of all, Cam Williams, the Patriots director of college scouting, has left the team after 7 years.
I don't know what happened.
He was brought in by Belichick. Bit of a strange one in terms of time, because he was the man making all the phone calls to the draft prospects in the war room. But he's left essentially for a promotion with the Broncos as an assistant vice president of player personnel. So he's like going up the chain. So good luck to Cam Williams. But I think this is maybe indicative of the fact they might want one of their own guys from now on. A new regime. He's been there for a long time since the Belichick days. I'd imagine Matt Groh might follow in the near future, but they certainly want to, do their own thing in that room.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's spot on there. I think he's got offered a higher position. Patriots are probably not going to match the salary or want him to stay. So, I think it's just a change, and that's it at the end of the day.
Elsewhere, Julian Edelman got into the Hall of Fame. We spoke on the podcast when Nick hosted a few weeks ago about the finalists, and it was Edelman. I think we all agreed that he was the rightful inductee, considering his contribution to the team. So congratulations to Edelman. What an amazing player. I hope they do something for him at a Patriots game early in the season, where he gets the ceremony with the red jacket. Because, what a fantastic story. What a fantastic player. If anyone's never listened to the Dudes on Dudes podcast, I would 100% recommend it. It is just Gronk and Edelman chatting for an hour. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. So I'd recommend that. Patriots signed running back Travion Williams. We now have Travion Williams and Travion Henderson. I think that's because having listened to Phil Perry's podcast on NBC Sports Boston, they were talking about the rookie mini camp and that, Travion Henderson didn't train the first day. So it was just Lan Larison taking like all the carries. So they probably just need another body for camp. And plus, Williams is a core special teamer as well. So I wonder whether there's just some depth to camp body just to see, because you can't have everyone at the top of the depth chart taking all the carries. So Travion Williams is in. And then the final thing we want to talk about before we get out of it, because we're nearly an hour. Tomorrow, we will all get treated to the first episode of Forged in Foxborough. The Patriots are releasing that Fly on the Wall series on their social media channels, YouTube, on the Patriots app, which is essentially an in-house version of Hard Knocks or like the Amazon All or Nothing series, a Fly on the Wall, all filmed throughout this off-season. We'll see how, we've seen a couple of things with Mike Vrabel, like doing something with Caden Wallace in a team meeting. I think it's going to give us a real insight into Mike Vrabel.
I think it's
and the coaching staff. And that's great, because that never really would have happened on the Belichick.
No.
But I'm really intrigued to see this, because I think this could be really, really interesting to see. And I think it almost might stoke the fire a little bit in the fan base of because everyone's so happy with what Vrabel's done so far and is expecting him to turn this team around. But I just think he just gives off such a good vibe, and you have such confidence in him that he's going to deliver. And I think this can only help it.
Yeah, I think I don't know how long the series is going on for, or for how.
It might be 6 episodes. They said.
Is it? I mean, is it going on for an hour, or is it just half an hour?
I don't think it'll be that long per episode, to be fair, because they've not been in that long, have they?
No, I think it's just like you say. It's to give the new era, there's a really good insight of what Vrabel's doing with the staff, with the team, and it just gives some fans some excitement and something to watch. Like you said, with Belichick, we'll never get to do this. We never ever get to see anything. Everything's always closed doors. He's very secretive on what he's doing and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, this will be a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be great. So everyone check out Forward in Foxborough. I'm all looking forward to watching that. So it's going to be great. But yeah, that brings us towards
2 other news thingies, just quick ones. So we cut long snapper Cardona. I don't think we got to announce that on the last time.
Joe Cardona, obviously been with the team for I think 9 or 10 seasons.
Years. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Obviously been part of the Super Bowl teams, but he was the last remaining player from the Super Bowl winning dynasty to remain on the team. But I guess that was kind of inevitable when we spent a silly 7th round draft pick on a long snapper. You just got to hope now that Julian Ashby is actually decent. Otherwise, it looks like a bit of a silly move. Especially because I went mad on drafting a long snapper and a draft review.
I'm assuming he must be. If not, they wouldn't have cut Cardona straight away either. They would at least let them battle it out in camp and then decide who's the winning position. So if they've already done that, I think they've made their minds up.
Yeah. So good luck to Joe Cardona. He's actually signed with the Dolphins, so he'll be coming back very quickly.
The only other important news I had was that it was released, it says here 2 hours ago. So Christian Barmore has been cleared for the 2025 season. So he's obviously had his struggles towards last 2 seasons or 23 when it got cut short because of the blood clot issues. He then came back. He tried to force himself back. Wasn't 100%. Medicals obviously decided to cut his 2024 season short as well. But he's actually been cleared to participate in the 2025. So that's really, really good news for him.
Absolutely. He said he expects to be ready for week 1, which is amazing news. That defensive tackle room is going to be legit this year. And there's going to be a lot of competition for places because we know that Barmore and Milton Williams are at the top of that roster. Joshua Farmer's going to make the team. You know, we spent a fourth round pick.
We got Tonga there as well.
Tonga's going to be the nose tackle, I would have thought.
Yeah.
So then you're probably going to only carry maybe one more, and you've got Farms, who had his moments. You know, Jaquelin Roy had his moments last year after we picked him up the waivers for Vikings. So we've already released Eric Johnson, so that's one name out of the building. But that's going to be competitive for the roster spots. You know, I'm excited. I mean, if Farmer pans out to be as good as we hope he can be, because I liked him in the draft process, having Barmore, Williams, and Farmer in a rotation is going to be absolutely frightening.
It just adds that depth in it. So really good.
Like that. But anyway, that brings us to the end of this impromptu Patriots Touchback podcast. DJ, thanks for hopping on.
Cheers for hosting, mate.
Everyone at home for listening and for watching. Thanks to Dougie for getting in touch several times during the show. Remember to follow us on all our social media platforms at Patriots Touchback. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And of course, Gronk Spike the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, Patriots Touchback. We're not too sure when we're going to be back next because we're now entering that kind of barren period of the NFL.
Yeah, it's that little off-season mode now where it's like summer's here. I'm just really ready to go to see what this team can be like at week one. It's just, or even pre-season, mini camp. So yeah, we'll see. We might be able to squeeze in a couple of episodes here and there, like to review the offense, defense. I think Nick's got lined up a little quiz here and there. So yeah, we'll push some shows out, even if it's like maybe every fortnight or something for the time being until mini camp and training camp starts ramping up.
Absolutely. So keep an eye on our social media platforms for announcements over future shows. But yeah, appreciate everyone. Have a fantastic rest of the week, and we will speak to you next time on the Patriots Touchback podcast. Go Pats.